I got a mule deer hunt in 2.5 weeks, and I finally figured out, okay, this is what I'm going to run as far as the sight and arrows and all that. But I mean, I've gone through 4 or 5. So basically, think about adding more weight to the front, so it hits a little bit harder, penetrates a little bit more, and you're taking weight off the back end of this arrow. 4 or 5 years, each year I get to upgrade a little bit through trial and error of what I like and what I don't. When I first started, I went kind of cheaper because I was a cheap college kid.
Come on, get you some of it.
Boy, have I got one heck of a podcast for you guys tonight. I'm excited about it. It's getting close to archery season. GK Morrison with Corbin's Archery out of Lubbock, Texas. GK is my personal friend and one hell of a bow tech. Good guy. We're going to talk about bow stuff. We're going to talk about backpacking. We're going to talk about arrow setup, form, you name it. It's in this podcast. Let's stack some arrows with GK Morrison. What's up, Big Daddy? GK Morrison, how you doing, bud?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing good. So how are things in Lubbock, Texas?
It's hot and dry and windy, but it's going good. Besides that.
Yeah. I think you guys got some of that heat like we've got over here. It's just stifling hot. But again, somebody said the other day, hey, it's a dangerous thing happens this time of year, every year. I don't know what's going on. So,
that's right. It's miserable.
Just the summertime, man. So, look, I want to give you a quick intro. People ask me all the time, say, man, how did you meet somebody that has a bow shop over in Texas? And, just chance, by happenstance, I guess you say.
Yes, sir.
But GK, for those of you who don't know, and I hope some of your followers come over and y'all's followers come over, Corbin's Archery, and the original shop's in Seminole. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Correct. Mm-hmm.
So, and, guys, if you want solid archery content on social media, Corbin's Archery on Instagram and YouTube is hands down the place to be. It's some of my favorite things. You guys do shorts. You do stuff from the shop almost every day, don't you?
Pretty much every day. We got a good film guy who just texts us like, hey, we need to get some more footage. And we pretty much film once, twice, maybe even 3 times a week, depending on what we got going on. So,
yeah. And I mean, it is solid content. You guys were working on, I want to talk to you in a little bit about what you did today. That was a pretty big setup you got going on today that you posted.
That Cape Buffalo build? Yeah, that was a big one. Yeah. Pretty fun though.
So let's, what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about some gear, man. Archery gear, backpacking gear. Backpacking seems to be catching on really big in the archery world. A lot of guys using extra bags and carrying things to carry different gear into the woods and or into where they're going to be hunting. You got a pretty good thing going with that, huh?
Yeah, I've been fortunate enough to do it. Backpack hunting for the last 4 or 5 years. Each year I get to upgrade a little bit through trial and error of what I like and what I don't. When I first started, I went kind of cheaper because I was a cheap college kid and just wanted to get stuff to go hunting basically. And now that I've done it for a few years and saved up my money, I can kind of expand on what, I really need to put money towards. And it's expensive. I'll tell you that because my wife, she drew an elk tag this year. We're going in less than a month and it's expensive. I had to start from scratch with her, and of course, I know what to buy now. So she doesn't get the cheap stuff. She gets the high end stuff. So
I did the same thing when I started using more of a backpack because I when I go hunting, my backpack I've got to have it with me. I'm not going to take a ATV in the woods. I break my animals down right there in the woods, and I'm coming out with them. I started with just an old like you just said, an old El Cheapo Army Alice pack. Right. And man, I ran that thing ragged until finally I had to upgrade this year. So what did you use when you were economical?
Just a cheap pack. That's the first thing I'd say I spent a lot of money on was a good pack with a good frame. I've kind of gotten to upgrade through the years as far as like a sleeping pad, a good one person tent or a bivvy, whatever you like to run there. Good sleeping bag. They're not cheap, especially ones that go down to 0-degree ratings. That'll pack small enough inside your pack. You don't want to carry all this big bulky stuff. And what I've learned through the backpacking stuff is your good quality lightweight stuff that's going to pack real small is going to be your most expensive stuff. So it's kind of what you need to prioritize, I guess, is what you want to spend the money on and what you can justify spending the money on. But looking back, I kind of wish I would have just saved up and just went buy once, cry once kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Now I got all this extra gear that's good, but not high end until I've started to upgrade.
So are we talking internal frames, external frame? What kind of pack are you talking about?
So right now, what I run the Mystery Ranch system. We do a lot with Kufaru as well, but that's what I first bought was a Mystery Ranch pack. I think it was like the first gen Metcalf. It was on a big blowout sale on one of these websites. Bought it, big internal frame, size to you kind of deal, and I've liked the pack. The frame's been good. I've taken it to Montana the last couple of years and have not had an issue at all. I've upgraded pack size just because I know for like the wife's hunt, I'll be carrying most of the stuff and keeping her lightweight. That way she can be deadly and make a good shot.
So how much weight are you looking at when you go in versus like what would you going to carry? And when you say lightweight with her, what is it? What is your version of lightweight? Where does that come in?
Well, her lightweight, I mean, she's a little thing, so she's probably going to just be carrying on her back probably her water bladder, which holds 2 or 3 liters of water, whatever that'll weigh, and then maybe her sleeping bag. Other than that, I got the tent with me. I got both sleeping pads. I got food. I got the jet boil. I got whatever we're going to need to pack in with. That's what I have. Especially in her situation, it's kind of rare. Hunting a wilderness area, meaning we can't drive any automated vehicles back there. You either go in on foot or horseback, depending on where you're at. So we're looking to pack in a couple miles with all that stuff on our back, set up a spike camp, dropping most of our bag or gear and stuff like that, and just carry the essentials like water and maybe an extra layer of clothes, whatever we might need when we go and start chasing some elk up there. Also, have our buddy Chance, he's going to be going with us, so I get to load his pack full of some of our stuff too. So
Yeah, let him be a pack mule for a little
that's
bit.
right. He's like, "Can I go?" I was like, "Yeah, you can haul some stuff, sure."
So over the years, man, what's like? I know you just said you like to run the Mystery Ranch, so and the Kafaru. Are there
hmm
any other brands that you've tried that they're pretty decent?
I haven't tried anything other than those two as far as that stuff goes. You can go. I know some guys who run the Kuiu stuff. I know Kuiu makes a pretty decent pack. Badlands makes a good pack as well. It just kind of depends on what you're willing to spend the money on. I
Hmm.
like Kufaru's system as far as their frame and getting size and all that stuff. I'd love to go and actually get fitted for one, and that might be my next purchase down the road. But there's so many other things like other gear that I'd rather spend money on, especially my Mystery Ranch stuff. It doesn't cause me any discomfort or anything like that, so I don't see a reason to change at the moment. Might expand later, but we'll see how that goes. But right now, I'm pretty happy with the Mystery Ranch stuff. So,
Hmm. See, I've gone to what I bought recently was an Eberly stock bag. I got a friend of mine
hmm
in Montana. He loves Eberly stock, and I looked at it. And I found one that was really good for my saddle. I mean, it's got a spot for my sticks. It's got a spot for my platform, internal frame, the the belt that goes around your mid waist, and then you got your chest. I mean, it's so good, and I'll use that when I exercise with my rucking. And let me tell
right.
you, those frames that it's a whole different ball game from just having a regular pack with a little bit of weight in it. You throw
hmm
about 40, 60 pounds in a bag, you better make sure it's going to feel good because if not,
Right.
you're going to be miserable.
Yeah, definitely sit right. Especially like you don't want it all sitting on your shoulders. You want to sit more on your waist and your lower back, especially with a lot of weight on there. I mean, you can tell a difference between a bad frame and a good frame pretty quick.
Yeah, in a minute, in a hot minute.
hmm
The first bag I had was that Alice pack. It didn't have
hmm
a frame. And man, it was, I didn't think anything of it until I broke down my first animal, put it in the bag. That coming out, man, I was exhausted when I got because that
Right.
frame, I didn't have anything to spread that weight out. It was just sitting there, and I'm like, Jesus. So
Yeah, you're taking the
went
whole
back.
load of it.
Yep, went after that and found an Alice pack that had a frame. Economic wise, man, there you can find those cheap packs if you want to just try to get into it on Amazon for I can't remember. I think I spent like 50, maybe $75 on that
Right.
kind of stuff. And then the bag I bought, that Everly stock, I think it was bumping 200, and I think I may have gotten that one on sale.
hmm
So you like you just said, you can spend as much money as you want to on something like that.
Absolutely. Run what you like, what feels good to you. I mean, you got to be able to justify what you're spending your money on, and that's what works for you. Then run it, kind of deal.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about something that I like. That you sent me. You send me stuff, and I see stuff a lot. Bow gear.
Mm-hmm.
With you having a bow shop, I imagine you see all kinds of new stuff every year.
Absolutely. Yep.
So tell me some of the stuff that you're using, not only that you think is pretty cool, but that you're actually going to use this year.
Um, well, I haven't changed. I don't deviate from my setup a lot. Going, and I think Corbin and everybody that works with us at the shop can attest to this. We tinker on our own stuff so much. I finally just finalized my setup. I got a mule deer hunt in 2.5 weeks, and I finally figured out, okay, this is what I'm going to run as far as the sight and arrows and all that. But I mean, I've gone through 4 or 5 different sites since tack, just swapping them out, seeing what what feels good, what I like. Um, but my setup doesn't really change as much. I have it back here. I don't know if we can get it all on camera, but ideally, I'm running the Matthews Phase 433 this year for hunting, similar to my V3X last year, which was a 33, so not much difference. Um, Same kind of sight. I'm going to be running an HHA Tetra. It's just a 2-pin. I've run a Spot Hog in the past, and this is very similar to that. I just kind of like the sight housing a little bit better and the dial system on the HHA, which is why I'm going to that. But something that's new to me this year that I'm excited to run, and this is not somebody who sponsors us or we have any affiliation with, is the bow hitch guys. I think you've seen their booth at TAC.
Mm-hmm.
But the bow hitch, I don't know if you can see this little piece of metal here running out of my bow. What this is a little 5 or 6 ounce piece of metal that has this little clamp and comes with a strap. Also comes with like a stretchy, however you want to call it, bungee cord type strap as well. But this strap goes on your pack or on your bino harness, right on your shoulder piece there. And then this cord just hangs down like a backpack would, but has that little hole. And what you can do is you can set your bow in there, and you can hike around with your bow hanging. When you're glassing, you don't have to set your bow down, throw it over your shoulder. You can just put it on the bow hitch here, let it dangle to your side, or you don't even have to carry your bow when you're walking. It just dangles down to your side. That's a new piece to me this year that I'm excited to run because their motto is carrying your bow sucks, and I agree. It does suck.
It does.
I normally just throw it over the old shoulder and put it on the pack and holding it the whole time while I'm trying to catch my breath. But no, with this, I just let it dangle, and it's easy for me to grab a glass if I need to, or do something hands-free without worrying about my bow falling over or whatever. So I'm excited to run these. I bought this, and Addie, my wife, bought her one too, for her elk hunt. And then I know a couple of our guys in our TAC group, the Bow Bros, who have some as well. So these guys are locally owned.
I'm
They're
gonna
out
have to
of
look into that.
Albuquerque, New Mexico. Yeah, 2 good dudes out of Albuquerque. They're starting to make a lot of different colors and all that cool stuff, but really good business. But yeah, I think this is going to be a cool new piece of gear for me. Everything else is I'm pretty accustomed to as far as what I'm looking at through a sight picture and a rest and all that stuff. Nothing as far as a bow setup has changed, except just having a little bit different accessory on there to help make carrying this bow through the woods a little bit easier.
So how much does it affect the weight of the bow? Can you tell it when you're shooting? Does it add a little weight? I mean, tell me about it. Anything?
You're talking 5 or 6 ounces. I mean, not a lot. Um, to me, it feels pretty similar to how the old Matthews bows ran, where you mounted it on the outside
Mm-hmm.
instead of mounting it through the riser, like in the bridge lock technology. So to me, it just feels like I still have stuff kind of on that outside edge, which is hard for me to tell because I run a back bar. So this bow is already somewhat heavy,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a very stable bow, and I'd rather be more stable and make a good shot than be worrying about weight too much. I always joke about it all the time. When people say, "Oh, that bow's heavy," or "This feels heavy," and Greg, I've never been at full draw on an animal and been like, you know what, this bow's kind of heavy. Like I've never thought that one time. So I'd rather just be stable and make a good shot. And if it weighs a little bit more, then it weighs a little bit more. But I like how it feels. And I mean, as far as the outside weight, you can't tell a difference in my opinion. So
Yeah. The heavier bow, of course, that's why people put stabilizers on there. You want that weight kind of help it stay steady anyway. So any added weight, especially just a few ounces, I don't think it would matter too bad. In fact, it may help somebody.
no, for sure,
So,
for sure. I mean, the only time I'm going to feel that's when it's at full draw, and I can't tell a difference. I mean, especially with that back bar helping me out as far as stabilizing goes, can't tell a difference at all. And plus, if I don't have to hold it and my pack can sit there and hold it, that's even better. So,
hey, let me ask you. The other day, you sent me a picture of a release. Do you remember that release you sent me a picture of? You said you were just on and on about how good it was.
you talking about the thumb button, maybe?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm rocking right here. It's going to be just the Ultra View button. Same one I've used since TAC probably, but they've come out with a couple new colors. But I love the Ultra View button as far as being able to adjust, the travel and the force, meaning how long it actually takes for that button to roll over and fire, click. You can also adjust this thumb position because my hand might be different in your hand, and we need to be able to adjust that thumb and get it where we need to and get it to feel right. But yeah, I've shot a thumb button in the past. Shot a lot of Carter wise choices and stuff like that. The Ultra View, in my opinion, is making a really quality thumb button. So that's what I'm running with a little Kydex case so I don't lose it, and ready to rock and roll there.
Hey, let me ask you. I had somebody ask me this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still me and my buddy. We're still old school over here. We got the wrist strap release, and
Mm-hmm.
one of them asked me, he's like, would a release like the button, would that affect your draw length at all? Because you've got it more in your hand, where with the wrist strap, my hand is more behind me than beside my face. Would that play into a factor at all?
So it can. So for me personally, it doesn't affect my draw length. Now, it just all depends on your anchor point, and that's mainly what's going to change is your anchor point. People associate, well, with a thumb button, I'm anchoring deeper, so my draw length's, wrong. Could be the case, but more than likely, they're just anchoring deeper, trying to get back to where they normally run their wrist strap release way back here, and so they're trying to do the
Mm-hmm.
same thing with their thumb, and it's just going to change your anchor point. Some might change the draw length half an inch or so. For me, mine doesn't change. I still like to feel the same exact anchor point with both of them, so I just get anchored in the exact same spot. So,
Okay. All right. So what else you got for us this year? Anything else on your bow you're excited about?
not on the bow specifically. I'm ready to try. So I got that mule deer hunt, like I was saying, and we have these lying around the shop. You heard of the company Sneak Tech?
Yes.
So I'm going to try out the Sneak Tech little slippers here. So basically, what you do, especially on mule deer, because they're kind of tough to stock up on, especially early season, is get close enough in range. You want to take your boots off, put these little. They're kind of like house shoes or slippers or moccasins in a way, but very very quiet. We actually posted like a prank video of me sneaking up on one of our Bowtechs and scaring him because he didn't hear me coming with these on. So I'm excited to try these out. I've heard a lot about them. This is something we have lying around the shop, so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put those to the test and try them out, see if they help me be a little bit more quieter and lead to a little bit more success. So we'll see.
Huh. Yeah, they're like a little. When you held them up, the first thing went through my mind was, here we are in 2023. We're going back to what Native Americans used to use with moccasins.
Yep.
But I saw. I want to say it was Michael Waddell put a stalk on a. He had shot. I can't remember if it was a whitetail or a mule deer, and it was a bad shot. But he watched the deer go down. He got down, took his boots off, and walked over there in his sock feet, slipped up
Mm-hmm.
on the animal, and made a great shot. And I was just like,
Made a
oh
great
my
shot.
gosh, yeah.
Yep.
So
Those same scenario. I think they post a lot of good stuff, and I think they have some good products. So I might as well try them out and see if they work. For me, anyways. They look cool. They're comfy to wear around the shop. So
yeah, yeah. Are they hot at all?
I mean, they're like a fleece outer line. I mean, I'm sure they'll burn you up a little bit, but they're kind of thin up top. It's not like you're wearing an UGG or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think something just to protect the bottom of your sock and to move a little bit quieter. So,
Okay. All right. Now I want to
but
talk to you about this. I am just fascinated with something that I am late to the game on, and that's
okay.
the front of center arrow. The front of center weight on these arrows. How bad late am I, GK? Has this been
You're
out for a
not
little
that.
while? Is this?
No, no. I mean, I still see guys coming in wanting their bow tuned for a big elk hunt that are running nothing up front. Basically. So you're not late to the game at all. I think it's something that people should look into for sure.
Absolute man. These things, my guy over here, he put them on there. I really didn't know what they were. I said, yeah, go ahead, whatever. And now that I've been shooting them, the penetration I get is unbelievable. It's so much more than the
Right.
old style era that I was using before. So explain that. Can you explain that to us real quick?
So FOC, let me grab an arrow. The FOC concept is how much weight you got forward of center FOC. It's going to be based off of percentage. Now you can get into like the big heavy ranch fairy stuff. Who's a guy who does a lot of FOC, very heavy arrow build. We personally don't run that way, depending on what you're hunting. Cape Buffalo build aside, I'm going to run anywhere between 11.5 to 15% FOC. That's what I like, meaning 15% of the weight FOC is going to be up front, forward of center. So like getting to balance this arrow kind of where it's, pretty much a balance point is going to determine how much FOC I have. And all that changes by adding weight up front or taking weight off the end of the arrow. So basically, think about adding more weight to the front so it hits a little bit harder, penetrates a little bit more, and you're taking weight off the back end of this arrow. So that's kind of what FOC means in a way of adding more weight forward of center.
Gotcha. Now, when you mentioned that Cape Buffalo today or earlier, normal whitetail arrow, what, 400 grains?
Yeah, it depends on who you are. Yeah, a lot of guys run between 400 and 500 probably.
Tell us how big this sung-on was that you made for this Cape Buffalo.
One we made for this Cape Buffalo build. So the broadhead alone was 315 grains. That's almost what most people's bear shaft arrow is.
Yes.
So the broadhead alone was 315. Add a 75 grain collar, and he just used the stock collar. He didn't. There's other collars that you can add more weight to the front. So he had, 300, 390 grains just up front, and he's going to sit there and run that, and then the rest of the arrow shaft total weight was 878. So
God,
I mean that's
almighty.
a heavy arrow. That's double than what I'm shooting for my mule deer. So,
and that you chronoed that one at 211, I think, right around 211, 212.
I was averaging like 211 out of 75 pounds and 29 or 29.5 inch draw, which, to be honest, we had Ian, our cameraman, and Little Corbin, the one that works with me here in Lubbock. We were all guessing, like, what do you think it's going to be? And we were all way off. I was surprised how fast it actually was. We were thinking 175 to 195. At 211. So pretty impressive. And I mean, it was hitting hard. I mean, that had so much weight up front that it's just going to hit like a truck. I mean, a lot of weight up there to help penetrate and hit pretty hard. So
now the broadhead, was that a custom made broadhead?
So that's all from Grizzly Stick, who's a company. They're a company out there. I think Victory now owns the arrows. But Ed Ashby, big broadhead scientist guy, created these single bevels. And that was his design of the broadhead. And you see big, I mean, they were probably 3 inches long and, 315 grains. So pretty heavy. So
yeah.
Looked like an old school tip.
I watched him on a podcast. I can't remember who it was, and listened to him explain the single bevel and whatnot like that. And I can see where it would definitely be beneficial, especially in a situation like what that guy's about to get into going after Cape Buffalo.
Especially, I mean, yeah, with a big animal, I think you need something, especially that heavy of an arrow. You need something with a good cut on contact head, especially like Cape Buffalo. You want something big. Addie, she drew an elk tag, but she's a little thing, so she's not pulling a lot of weight. And I've really had to like put my brain to the test here and build her a really good setup. And she's going to be running about 18 or 19% FOC out of her little, I think it's weighing 390, but she's pulling 45-ish pounds, and she's a 25-inch draw length. So I'm going to run her kind of a single bevel look. I mean, it kind of looks like that Ed Ashby one that we filmed the Cape Buffalo with, but this is made by Helix, who's, in partnership with America's Best. Good little single bevel looking head, but this year they added 2 bleeder blades to it. So it's a really good cut on contact head that I'm going to let her run. Just so, I mean, she's probably not going to get a complete pass through, but I want that arrow to penetrate as far as it can, obviously, inside of a big animal like an elk. So she's going to run that. And it says, the package says it's 2 1/8 inch cut, kind of with this little crisscross X cut. So that's what she's going to be running. And I mean, I'm a believer. I've shot a hog with a single bevel, and I mean, just you talk about penetration station, that blew through that thing. And I thought that single bevel stuff's pretty cool. So
yeah, well, hey man, I'm looking forward to seeing what you can get her on, because I'm following you. We're friends on social media, and I get a kick out of watching her and all the other ladies that went out there to San Antonio. Y'all, they had a good time out there, man. So that's good
blast.
Stuff.
They did. I was impressed after the morning shoot. Like, well, y'all ready to go back? Go go eat, maybe go shopping, do something. They're like, oh, let's shoot this afternoon. Me and Chance were both kind of appalled. We're like, all right, yeah, we're down. Let's shoot some more.
That's good
So
stuff, brother. That's good stuff. So, had somebody ask me the other day, when it comes down to bass fishing, trust me, I'm going to be the one asking him for tips.
right,
But he
yeah.
asked me, he said, I don't get to shoot my bow as often as I should. I really need help with my form. What can I do at the house to get better with form? What do you
Um,
suggest on an instance like that?
Real inexpensive way to do it is go to Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, whatever, and just get you some building material to build a shot trainer. That's kind of what we do. I mean, this one is a homemade. You can see here, it's got a few springs so you can actually like pull into a back wall and feel like you're holding some stuff. But a spring, two little washers, kind of like a tennis shoe, shoelace material here, and just drilled a hole in just a wood grip. And I mean, if he's a wrist strap shooter, tell him he can take this to the office. He can sit at home in the office while he's watching Major League Fishing or whatever he's watching. He can just get that shot trainer, practice with his release, and go ahead and get your anchor point. It's important to go ahead and set this to your draw length too, just so you're
Mm-hmm.
practicing your exact draw length. It's important to find your anchor point and just get comfortable, get anchoring repetitively every time, as consistent as you can, because that's what archery is all about. I mean, yes, there's some form stuff that you can improve on as far as getting your form down right. But at the end of the day, it's whatever you can do consistently and repeatedly is going to help you be, a better shot than most. So what I do, especially on a slow day, or if I'm working on the thumb, I'll take my hinge release, and because a hinge, I'm going to work it just like a thumb and just pull through that shot. Just practice that release. But for him, I'd say take, I don't know, 10, 15, 30 minutes, however long you want. Just get a little shot trainer, get your release, and just get your normal anchor point and just get comfortable, in your anchor, and then just practice going off and practicing your form. I mean, that's the best way to do it without going outside and shooting a bunch of arrows. This is a good way to really patent in your form. Get consistent with your anchor point. Can't stress that enough. We see a lot of guys inconsistent because their anchor point switches, every time they're anchoring differently. The more you can be repetitively, the best you can be as far as, consistency and accuracy and all that. And once if he's a guy who doesn't get to shoot a lot, like you're saying, he might have a bad case of wanting to punch the trigger, meaning just slap at it. This is a good way to get out of that situation to where you can actually wrap that finger around that barrel and then just let that shot surprise you as you pull through it until it finally goes off. I'm not going to sit there and slap the trigger and practice bad habits. I'm going to actually work on my pulling through the shot, executing, getting that surprise shot. And then once you feel confident with that, take it outside. Get your bow, go outside, or heck, put a target in the office. I blank bail a lot, and we use that term in the archery game. Blank bailing means getting 5-6 feet away from the target, and literally I'm just focusing on form, not worried about where that arrow is going. I'm just working on shooting with correct form, with correct technique, and that arrow's only going 6 feet. I'm not worried about where I'm hitting at 20 yards. I'm just working on form first until I get that down, and then we can start going to deeper range and all that stuff. So I think form and technique is what everyone should practice. Doesn't matter how far you can shoot your bow, as long as you have good form and good technique, you'll be a lot more accurate when season comes around. So,
outstanding stuff, GK Morrison. Thank you so
yes,
much
sir.
for taking time, brother. Anything else you
No,
want
I
to add to
appreciate it.
this one?
No, this has all been good. If y'all need anything or need anything bow related, y'all can holler at us on Instagram or YouTube or whatever. If y'all got any video ideas y'all want us to do, holler at us, let us know. Hopefully come October, November, you're down with me in San Angelo with Wild Bill, and we're filming some sort of hunting video. So
I was going to ask you how Wild Bill's doing, man.
he's doing
He'll
good.
message me. He'll message me out of the blue sometimes, man. It's so cool. I love it.
He's doing good. He didn't draw anything this year. They're going on an Alaskan cruise right at the end of August, so he didn't get to draw anything, but he's coming to set up a base camp for me and Addie when we go on her elk tag. And dude, he's transformed his rig, his new Tundra that he got. He transformed it, put one of them Free Spirit Lightner rooftop tents on top of it, whole deck system. I mean, he looks like he's ready to rock and roll. So, no, he's doing good. He's chomping at the bit to go hunting. I'll tell you that.
Old Bill, he's a good dude, man. You're lucky to have him, I'm telling you.
For sure, for sure.
All right, cuz. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you taking time. Appreciate you doing this. If you need anything, let me
Anytime.
know, okay?
Yeah, same for you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks,
All right.
Greg.